we still have a jammed motor, so let's crack on. Hello and welcome to another MrBetaByte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as I'm hoping we can get this capstan motor free. Hopefully sort out the clock as well with its missing top digits, and ultimately get this machine up and running. And yeah, it'd be really great, to be honest, because this is the machine with pretty much 0 hours on it. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And just lifting the board up prior to starting to record this, the smell is like it really does sort of conjure up just so many memories of, you know, unboxing new kits back in the day. It's just amazing, intoxicating almost. But yeah, so the plan is, I mean, this motor is still well and truly jammed. There is no movement on it at all. So I'm going to take the motor out, and we're going to strip it down and hopefully get it going. You probably saw in part one, they're really not that bad to work on, and certainly if it's certainly worth a punt anyway. But this being, like I say, pretty much 0 hours, I think it will really come out working really well once it's properly cleaned out, and those bearings are freed up. So yeah, let's crack on. So a bit of an interesting one really, getting this motor out. What I do need to do is take off those two connectors, spade connectors for the FG. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually try and just slacken off the actual motor screws themselves, because they are incredibly tight. Yeah, they are incredibly tight. And if I just free them off first, that would be great. I've now taken off the FG off the top. I now need to remove this connector. I don't actually know if this will come out without removing. Yeah, it should do. It should come out. There's space. Actually, I wonder if, because what I need to do if I do anything is just free off the capstan belt, because that at the moment is being held captive by this assembly here. And again, I don't see why I should have to strip everything down. I mean, I do need to change that belt, so I will do it in the fullness of time. I don't know. Well, this is the way I'm doing it. It's probably going to be the only belt I'm going to change, because all the rest of the belts are perfect. It's just this belt, and this belt is good, but it does have signs of some wear on it. I mean, to be fair, even that's really good. So can I reach that? Problem is my normal length screwdriver is actually what's propping up the board, the PCB. Don't think this is magnetized. I think that screw just went in the power supply. So I think this should now be free. Which it appears to be. I wasn't quite expecting everything to come adrift, but that's fine. Yeah, so that's now totally free. I mean, I suppose we could take that off because, like I say, we're changing the bolt anyway. So let's get that out the equation. Well, actually, what if I just take out those screws to the motor, take the thing off, unplug the... Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? I mean, it's the first time I've done this. I mean, sort of reading around and all the rest of it, it's fairly common that this motor does jam, but I've never known one jam. I've never had a machine, and I've had quite a few over the years, and I guess I've just been lucky. Yeah, there's something on the top of there that's stopping that. When it's out, it's actually this that was on the loading ring. So yeah, I've just taken that off, and that's an interesting residue there, but grease isn't bad. I mean, it looks a bit terrible, but it's still good. It's still grease. It's not hardened that much, but I'll probably see to that as I'm going along to make sure that the grease is good. But yeah, at least we've got that off. Let's go back to the deck. That was not easy. So this should now come out. There we go. Yeah, that was a bit of a battle. I absolutely stink of plus gas. Which is one of my least favourite smells to smell of. So yeah, we have the motor, and yeah, it's still very, very tight. I've also been bashing against that micro switch, but that's fine. This was really, really tight on. I don't know why that was so difficult to get off, but it's off. So yeah, I suppose we ought to take the motor apart and have a look. So the fun job of getting this apart and doing it without injuring myself. Okay, so I've managed to get two of them free. One came apart really easily. The other one was actually really difficult to get apart. So what I'm doing is getting a screwdriver, just getting it so it's the other side of the shaft as well, because, well, you have to, and then just hitting it until I can get enough space to then get in flat blade screwdriver to then hopefully not stick it through my hand. So it's not pretty, but it does do the trick. I'll pull that back a bit more. Folding these back over might be interesting. So that should now come apart. And I will say, I mean, this one edge was a little bit up, and I don't know, I wonder if this was actually faulty. Ooh, plastic clip. That's the plastic clip that goes underneath the connector there, so that's fine. Of course that would come adrift. There we go. So that's it. I'm guessing that's some sort of balancing, but yeah, you can see, I mean, it's turning, but it's really stiff. I should be able to pull this off. Be interesting to see when this goes through the top bearing, whether it's any easier. Is it both bearings or just, oh. No, it's the bottom bearing. It's easier, but not much. It's just so odd because there's nothing bad there. There's no corrosion or anything. It's just really odd how these just, I mean, it obviously is incompatible materials, but gosh, yeah, I mean, down on the shaft, it's almost like sticky. Maybe it's just grease. I don't know. Interesting with the numbers. But okay, well, I'll give this a clean, and I'll put a tiny bit of plus gas on there because that seems to be absolutely perfect for this, and we'll take it from there. So let's see if we can get this motor to perform. I'm going to use a little bit of this Brasso to start off with. Just make sure that the shaft is well and truly clean, and let's use that just really clean down at the bottom. There we go. We'll give it a good clean off. That's certainly feeling a lot better already. Let's see how that's actually. Yes, it's still quite stiff, but it's a heck of a lot better already. So I need to get the magic plus gas, I think. So I thought I'd actually use this white lithium grease I think this will do a really good job. I seem to remember there's sprays everywhere, so it's probably way too much on there. Main reason I thought about using this is it does actually give like a protective layer. And it's going to work. I'm basically cleaning the bearings. Just give that a wipe over. Get rid of any excess. I don't mind there being a bit at the bottom, to be fair. Wow, that's brilliant. So, and there's just no resistance there. It's just perfect. So I should now be able to put this back together. Yeah, it's fine once it's down. So okay, I'm gonna have to sort of hammer these down or something. Not the easiest thing to sort of clamp down, but yeah, I'll find a way. Now I will say I might have a treat. I have found a brand new old stock motor. It's amazing really to have it, and I'm very lucky. And it feels good. What I might do is actually just put this on, because it could be that my fingers are just spinning on the shaft. Well, I have to say, I mean, it turns, but there's so much resistance. So I think what I'm going to do is go back to the original motor, and yeah, we'll take it from there. This is quite interesting. When using the Capstan motor for the SL-C7UB, you need a 4-pin to 3-pin adapter. So yeah, it's quite cool. Quite a cool little note. But yeah, let's crack on. So motors back together. I ended up really having to bash these down quite hard to get them so, well, get it so the top, but the end of this is really good and solid, doesn't move about, stays true, but it is absolutely good to go. Hopefully it'll be alright. I'm just slightly concerned with that little squeal. But we'll see. We'll see how we get on. So this goes back in like so. So that's on. Now this has very little slack on it. I don't want to get a bit more. Probably not. I don't know whether I want to either, to be fair. I'm going to be careful that everything fits, haven't I? It's going to go like so. I didn't press record. I just had a bit of a battle. Trying to get this back in was quite difficult. I don't think I'll be doing it this way again. I'll be doing it from the top. Just take off the boards off the top and drop the motor that way. Mainly because there is a plastic assembly, you might remember it, on the top, and it actually has to go past the lacing ring, and it's a bit of a fiddle. You don't have to force it, but and it feels like you need to sort of force it past it, but it will actually, with a bit of negotiation and just moving this, it will eventually, wiggling the whole assembly, it will fit. But my goodness, it took me forever, and I was sort of like, I didn't have enough hands, so I was balancing it and trying to, it was just, and of course I didn't press record. I really did not want to drop that screw. Yeah, I do need that. So you're very good at dropping screws in the power supply with this machine. Oh, and I put the little plastic, and put the plastic peg on the motor, which it needs to keep the PCB safe. Oh, I might just get from the back. I'm not taking this back out because it's not wise. So change that capstan belt. I'm just going to put that back on just with a screw at the moment. I'll leave the flywheel out just because I need to get that screw out. Right, I'll get that screw out, then we'll look at getting that bit of plastic back on the motor. Oh, blimey. So that's now how much I actually filmed of all of that. The circuit board on the motor wasn't sitting properly, and it was stopping the connector from properly going all the way in. So I managed to sort that out. I managed to get the plastic clip on. It was a fiddle. Looking at taking the motor from the top, it looks pretty mammoth, to be honest. I say pretty mammoth. This board has to come off. Probably this assembly needs to come off as well. I have a vague recollection I have done one, only one in the past. And I seem to remember I took that off, unplugged this, snipped that, took that off. You've got to take the plastic loom as well, what actually guides all the cabling around the back here off, or at least move it out the way, that take this can off at the back. This sort of just moves out the way, and then yeah, it's all accessible. I seem to remember. Let me know in the comments, just correct me on that, because it's a long time since I've done one. But I don't know, I think the way I did it maybe was easier. I don't know whether that's the proper way. I can hear something rattling about in there. But yeah, anyway. I did put in the screw just so it didn't fly about when I was trying to do everything. Yeah, bit of a battle. So I need to now dig out that capstan belt. I've got a new one. I'm not going to worry. Like I say, Kevin's quite happy to use the original belts because they're actually in good condition. They're actually really good. So, and the capstan belt was the only one that was a little bit suspect. I could feel that it was a bit I mean, obviously I've compromised it a bit as well. I'm trying to free off the motor, but it's the only one that just feels a little bit like it's past its best. So I suppose, I mean, it's not bad for 1980, and I say 1980 as well. It is 1980 because it says on the flywheel 1980, 17th of September 1980. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to do the caps on the servo board, but first I'm going to take a belt out of this belt kit bought from France quite some time ago. Actually, it's for another machine. I'm just going to borrow, in inverted commas, the the Capstan belt. If I can find it. I don't know whether Star Components actually do a belt kit for a C7. Might be something just to look into. But for now, let's use this belt. So let's compare it to the original. It's a tiny bit thicker and a bit tighter. I mean, I think that Capstan belt, that's the only belt that's going to cause us problems, I hope. Like I say, the rest of the belts just seem so good, it seems a shame to change them. And you could argue that there we go. Sort of like now. Okay. Flywheel cover. I will check I've got the belt on that end as well before I do much more. That has old grease in it. So let's get that out. Super. That's back together. And he didn't tell me about the FG. It's had one of those moments where it's just like, ooh, I didn't plug those in. So they're on as well. Super. Yeah, let's crack on. So I've put a new circlip on. The other one was quite bent and there's actually vanished. Yeah, so I'll do these caps here, 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 here. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should do the trick. I had a feeling there was another one somewhere lurking. But anyway, yeah, I'll do those and we'll crack on. Well, that turned out to be a little bit more of a battle than I was sort of anticipating, mainly because, just, yeah, me. But they're all done, all changed, so might be fun just to put them on the meter and just see what the meter makes of them. I think they'll all be fine, but of course they won't last, so they had to go. Back together, and this might be fun because I'm pretty sure I've cleared everything out of the power supply that fell in there. I don't know what I have. So yeah, let's power it on. Oh dear. So we've still got the clock issue. I will sort that out, but yeah, let's have a look at whether we have well, the motor's running. I just haven't adjusted it correctly. See here, it's just catching the gears. So it's a good start. At least it works. So yeah, I'll readjust that and we will crack on. Okay, so hours of fun. Not hours, but a few minutes. So I got a few things wrong. Well, one thing wrong, and that was the height of the gear come capstan pulley on the capstan motor. I just put it pretty much flush, but clear of the actual motor itself, motor body, and that was way too low. It was actually missing the lacing gear, and the capstan belt was actually dragging on the chassis. So I've adjusted it so it's correctly, I don't know if you can really see this, correctly engaging but not fouling the metal, but just engaging with the gear for the lacing. And the capstan belt is pretty true. I'm sure it tells you how to do this in the manual, but well, yeah. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Let's put the, you can see the belt is running a bit funny, but I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. At this stage anyway, let's eject it. It was really labouring before as well, because I had adjusted this right as far over as it could go, just because I didn't realise I hadn't set this height right for the Capstan motor pulley. So I've adjusted it back. I've tried a few different settings, and this is about as good as it gets. I do still have a squeal from this motor, so my feeling is to actually run, put some plus gas to soak and just let it run down the shaft to the other bearing as well. That should stop that. I don't think the grease I used was really the best grease for the job, truth be told. I'll just use a plus gas, and yeah, it will do a really good job. So I'll do that, and then we'll revisit it, and hopefully we'll be somewhere near. So yeah, let's crack on. So, time to look at the clock. Not literally, but just a clock and timer module. We have got these missing digits, and I have a very sneaky suspicion I'm going to find that one of those traces there under the battery is going to be open circuits. So I'm going to test that. I'll do it off camera because it's, well, just fiddly and not great video, but yeah, let's see what I find. So my theory that probably the battery leakage had caused the issue with the top of the display elements vanishing has actually proved to be correct. And you can actually see there is a break in the print. It just scraped away the varnish a little bit, and there's quite a break in the print. The rest all seem fine, which is great. But how these work, basically, each element of the 7-segment display has a rail to it. And what it does is, for each of the 4 7-segment portions of the display, it actually switches between them very, very quickly. So the voltages on here are going sort of 0-ish, minus 30, minus 36 volts. I'm not sure what it is on a C7 minus 40. Very quickly. So to the naked eye, it looks like it's like a solid clock display. But you know, with a camera, which is why you see VFDs flicker, it will actually pick out the energizing of each 7-segment display portion. So yeah, so what I was going to do, I was going to actually run a wire and probably do it behind the panel. This basically just passes through those rails to the VFD, and looked tidier. But as the battery's leaked, and it sort of gives a clue as to what's happened previously. If another one of these does rot, they all, like I say, they all seem fine. I have neutralized it as best I can, but yeah, I think I'm just going to put a wire bridge just across there, scrape off a bit of the good copper each end, solder that on. Job would be a good one. So let's crack on. So we're all done. I've given all of it a bit of a clean, a wipe off. I just wiped off the bad varnish, and it really is, it's superficial damage to the varnish. It's not affected the copper apart from that bottom trace, so really lucky. But continuity wise, so pin 2 of the VFD, and I think it's pin 4. We now have continuity, so great. It's not the prettiest repair, but you know, just putting that component leg across there. But yeah, it will do the job, and yeah, it is what it is, and it'll hopefully work. So I'll put this back together and we'll give it a test. Okay, so here goes. Ah, we have top digits. Excellent. Good start. We don't seem to have any power on. Oh, hang on. Just help if you press the right button. Okay, so I'm going straight in with the L830. So, first play. Well, it's playing. It's black and white, which is maybe not a good sign. Tracking is absolutely, well, yeah, it's perfect, isn't it? And now we've lost image. So I wonder what that's about. Oh, there we go. But we have no colour. Did I remember to plug everything in on the bottom board, I wonder? Maybe not. But it's a good black and white picture. I'll just check those connectors. So no, I didn't. Oh, honestly, I think I've just been worried about, well, I mean, I say I've been worried about sort of putting things about too much just because of the age of the machine. But to be fair, I've been doing this in bits and pieces, just because of work constraints and whatever. So yeah, I put one retaining screw back in just to stop the board flapping about. I think, to say I haven't enjoyed working on this machine would be a very incorrect statement, but I found it a little bit sort of stressful in some ways, just because it's so perfectly immaculate. But these machines don't sort of balance very well when they're sort of on their side, and you're sort of worried about sort of like the IR can keeps flicking over, and you know, you're just sort of worried about damaging things. I mean, the other four that I have that I'll go through, I'll be a lot more sort of relaxed with, just because they are sort of used machines of a time. But I'm just paranoid, he says, polishing a finger mark off, of spoiling this machine, because, you know, I want its new owner to enjoy it as a new old stock machine that's been gently refurbished. And I don't know, am I wrong to do that? I don't know. But anyway, let's try again. So I can actually press the right button. So what are we seeing? Oh wow. I mean, that's so good. That is really, really good. Yeah, so wow. Fast forward. Rewind doesn't work yet. Yeah, it might take a little bit, because everything is obviously so stiff. And do I take it all apart just to grease it? Maybe I should, but I'm sort of, because I know who this is going to. It's going to somebody who knows these machines inside out. And I think I'm inclined to sort of get it going in its new old stock state, but with sympathetic restoration, and then I'll give him a belt kit and he can work on it as it needs to be worked on. I think that rewind will eventually work. And fast forward is brilliant. I mean, these did have the problem with the idler against the plastic spool as well. There's a kit that fixed that. You can see it's starting to try and work. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to put this back together, and then I'm going to, you see it's trying to rewind. Then I'm going to fast forward this cassette. I mean, it's the L830 as well, which is not the best cassette maybe to try this with. But yeah, I'll wind it forward, wind it back, wind it forward, wind it back, and then we will do an update. Let's crack on. Let's try and eject. Well, that didn't go well, did it? Yeah. Oh, on that motor. Yeah. Does it time out? it's quite tight. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it the end of part 2, and let's look at the rewind problems. Let's sort out the lacing. Let's just double check these belts are good, or good enough. I mean, they do seem perfect, to be honest, especially as I've replaced that Capstan belt, which, if any of them are going to give problems, it's going to be that one first at this age. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. So part 3 will probably be next week, and yeah, it would be really nice to just get it working properly, wouldn't it? You know, it's it deserves to be working well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. A like would be fantastic, really helps, and subscribe too, because like I say, lots to come. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.